Hi everyone, this is Gary Wilson and welcome to this week's version of our live webinar for the Investor Agent Training Program. And as usual, we have people on from different programs like Flipping for Profits and Rental Profits, okay? And we have a special guest here tonight, Paul Kozlow, who is our web developer, and he's going to demonstrate how we use YouTube and how you can use YouTube in your marketing to acquire new clients. And believe it or not, it can also be used to acquire people who want to sell properties, because if they see your YouTube videos, you're going to be standing out from the crowd. Other agents will do this, but typically it's for the owner-occupant business. Okay, they're showing like a video tour of a property. This is going to be a little bit different. So I'll get to Paul here in a second. I'll introduce him, but first I want to look at questions, and we do have one from Mara. Hi, Mara. And Mara is asking, how do you find properties below market value for investors if you don't run comps until the very end of the searching process? Okay, good question. So, Mara, in most MLS systems, let's say you're looking at your MLS system to find inventory for people who want to flip homes. Okay, it's not the greatest way to find flips, but I'm just using an example here. On virtually all MLS systems, you have what we consider the list price, or the asking price for the property, okay? And also somewhere else on the listing. In virtually everyone, there's 404 MLS systems in North America, and they all follow one of about a half a dozen different platforms. Virtually every one of them that I've ever seen has another field somewhere on the listing that's going to provide either what they believe is fair market value that comes from your county's tax assessment database, or the actual assessed value itself, which could be different than market value. That's a whole different story behind that scene, but a lot of times market value for assessment purposes will be different than market value for sales purposes. It's just some counties will use a base year, for example, 1962. And so all the values look really skewed because they're values that were in place back in 1962. And they based their taxes on those values. They assumed that was a solid base year. Some counties will use a percentage approach. They'll come up with taxes, property taxes, based on 25% of market value or 25% of assessed value. In any case, back to your question here. What you're looking for initially, if you're looking at the MLS system, is properties that are listed at or below what you know to be the fair market value for that area, for that type of property in the area. So, Mara, you or your investor, one of you you have to know the areas. You have to know what is a good value, what is a fair market value for, say, a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home in whatever particular neighborhood you're looking to flip homes in. Okay. Now, if you're looking outside the MLS, which is a lot of what we encourage you to do through the marketing techniques, like the letter, for example, that we use, is you're finding inventory off the MLS. Now, let's say you find some properties that are not on the MLS. Obviously, they're not listed, so you're not going to get that. You're not going to get what's perceived to be, or what is the asking price. You can, however, go to your county tax assessment database and find out what the county sees as its value. Okay. Now, you or your client can do that. It doesn't matter who does it. One of you can do it. So the reason why we don't do comps until the very end is you could spend a lifetime doing comps on properties that you really have no business looking at, you or your client. So if you follow the 13-step process in Module 2, there's one set of steps for people buying rentals and one set of steps for people buying flips. If you follow that process of how you determine what properties to look at, you'll realize that you don't want to do comps until you settle on the final list of properties. So at the end of the day, Mara, you do actually do comps on properties you make offers on. That's like your litmus test. But prior to that, all decisions are going to be made based on your broad knowledge of the area and those types of properties. And if you're not familiar with market values of those types of properties in a particular area, then on your own, I would actually go out there and do some research. And literally in about 5 minutes, you could find out what is the average market value for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home just using this as an example again, in your area. So I hope that helps a little bit, but let's walk through a quick example. So if you're looking for properties for someone who is flipping a home, you want to know what we call is the after repair value. You want to have basically a broad brushstroke idea of what 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom homes would sell for in a neighborhood if they were in marketable condition. In other words, they're either remodeled or they're new or they're relatively new, but basically marketable. You should have that. You should already have that information available to you. Okay. Then you're looking for properties that are priced at or below that value. Now, at the end of the day, if it's, again, this is a flip and you're going to remodel that property, okay, you also need to know what that property would sell for if you increase the value of the property, not just in traditional sense like you're making it equivalent to the other properties in the area, but more importantly, what if you're renovating and you're remodeling to push the market value by, say, 10%? The reason I mentioned that, Mara, and for everyone else, is in a market like we have today, where prices are still rising and inventory is tight, and this is true in most areas of North America, you can push the market by about 10%. Okay, so the reality is, though, it's a matter of time versus money. You don't want to do a full-blown, you don't want to pull comps on every single property until you've actually looked at it and know you're going to make offers. Prior to that process, prior to that final step, you just want to use a basically broad knowledge of the area. In other words, you know what 3-bedroom, 2 bathrooms will sell for in the area. That's what you're using in the beginning. It's not an exact science, but this is how you do the business. Otherwise, you could be running comps on properties that you may ever even go look at, or let alone make offers on. So the comps are the final litmus test on any property that you make offers on. That's how we use that. That's how we use that part of the process. Okay, let's see if there's any more questions. Okay, don't see any questions. So for everybody here, I want to welcome Paul. So Paul, welcome aboard. I appreciate you doing this and taking that time out of your personal time to help these folks out. So welcome aboard.
Thanks, Gary.
Yep. And if you're ready, you've got control of the screen. You want to go ahead and start in on tonight's subject?
Sure. Where I wanted to start off here, as you can see on the screen, we have a agent from Keller Williams here, and this is, I'm going to turn this down. Can you hear that audio, Gary?
I hear something very faint in the background, but it's not even hardly detectable. I just hear your voice more than anything.
Neither or, as long as you can see this moving. Now, I wanted to start this sort of from backwards. So this is an agent that's already posted up something to YouTube. She's going over one property or several properties here. I just kind of stumbled across it. But what I wanted to go over was, okay, how did they get it up here, and what can you do with it afterwards? So what I did is I went ahead and I grabbed this video here, and we'll pretend that it's not up there. Now you could be doing this one of several different ways. If you're walking through a property, you could be using your cell phone just to be walking through, showing room to room. You could be using a video camcorder, either or. I'm going to take it from the perspective that you're doing one or the other, and we're taking this to the computer, and from there putting it up onto YouTube, and then posting it and using it in different areas after that. You could also, from your phone directly upload to YouTube, but we're going to look at this in this way here, that you're taking it, you're putting it on your computer, and uploading it into YouTube. So I wanted to cover just the steps of getting it from your computer up into YouTube. Okay. So from here, this is where we have the video here. So if this was on your phone and you plugged your laptop into your computer, or you took your SD card out of your camcorder, put it into your computer, it's obviously going to download somewhere. This is in one of my video files for Gary. So we have it right here. Now I'm going to bring this screen over. Now if you don't have a YouTube account, what you're going to need in order to even set that up is a Google account, because they're all tied together. So if you went over to YouTube and you don't have a Google account, it's going to ask you to set up a Google account so that you can have a YouTube account, and it kind of pulls it all under the Google umbrella. I'm having a little trouble seeing where I'm at, but once you're logged into your account, I have to move this over. You can see an icon for Gary over here, and I just hit on the upload account. So once you're in, let me see one of these other ones. You can see over here, if I just went to Google, I'm already logged into Gary's account, and you can see upload button's always there. So if I clicked on upload, then I'm going to go over to this screen here. So you can either drag and drop a file that you have, or you can upload it here. So I'm going to navigate over to where I know that video file is. I know it's in Gary, and it's just in for this webinar. So I'm going to hit and upload this. Now you can see here it's uploading over here. It won't take too long to upload. It's not a very, I pick a so it doesn't take all that much. After it uploads, then it needs to process. So I'll just upload, and that's usually where I do this. For example, over here, here's where the title for the video that we're posting. Down here, you have an area for description and tags. Tags are slash keywords. Now, one of the things to keep in mind here is that if you're going to post something and you want it to be able to be found on YouTube, you want to use it in a YouTube essence and not necessarily something you're and using it as a tool, that you want to pay attention to how you label your videos, what you use your description, and what you use for your tags, because that's how somebody's going to find you or find your video. So if I didn't put anything in here in the description and I kept this real vague and it just said Austin agent, it's not really going to do me any good if you're looking to attract people on YouTube to finding your videos. So you want to be as descriptive as possible as to who your potential audience is for whatever video you're putting up. So in the description, you're going to want to put property listed in, for example, here, Austin, Texas, blah, blah, blah. Your keywords or your tags can be, I would use geographical terms whenever you're putting in there. Real estate, agent, geographical if you're in Pittsburgh, which I am at the moment, or if you're in Austin, where this originally came from, the state. Anything that's going to someone else on YouTube is going to be looking for. Now you can see this is done processing here, and I'm not going to hit publish yet. I just want to show you some of the options that you have for whenever you're actually posting in here. So over here you can see you have public, you have unlisted, and you have private. Now if you want anybody surfing YouTube to be able to see this, you want to use public. If you're using let's say you don't necessarily want this to be out in the public, you would either use unlisted or private. The big difference between these two is unlisted. You can, anybody that has a link or a posted link to the video will be able to view it. If they're private, they have to be invited basically by you. There's some other stipulations. We don't usually use private very much. Most of the stuff that we're working on, we'll either use public or unlisted. If you want to add it to one of your playlists, that's where you would use here. You type in either a new playlist or add it to a current playlist. And a playlist, once you have multiple videos up on YouTube, most people break them down into whether it's, for example, educational, whether you're teaching, whether you're giving a tutorial, whether it's properties or listings that you're showing. You can make those and break your videos down into particular playlists. So that's where you would do here. So here I might type in local listings or something to that effect, then create a new playlist. Again, you can see that we could go over to advanced settings here too. Categories, where this helps if you're, most of the time you're probably going to be putting something in people and blogs and a lot of using, so it's defaulting to there automatically. You can see what the other ones are here: film, education. Most of the times you're probably going to want to just leave it at default of people and blogs. Whether you want comments on it, your posts or not. This is something you want to check. Some people just want to be able to use their posts as a tool. They don't want anyone going in and making particular comments on it. You would either check or uncheck this. Users can view or rate this video. That would be your thumbs up and your thumbs down on a YouTube rating system. You can either uncheck those or uncheck them. Syndication everywhere, that's already defaulted. Allowing embedding, now what this would be is if you don't want somebody to be able to find your video on YouTube and repost it anywhere or repost it in their blog, you would have to uncheck this, or anybody can just come along and grab your video and use it as they want. In some instances, you just may want to leave that checked. It's about all over here. Recording date, these other things, it starts getting into a lot of different things. Translations, you probably don't need to go into, so I'm just going to go back over to basic info. Down here you can see video thumbnail. This is a short video. If yours were longer, then you can see this is the thumbnail it's already picking up here. You could select a different one if you wanted to and set that as the thumbnail. Again, this is already processed, so I'm going to go ahead and hit done on the processing. Actually, that's waiting for me to finish doing what I need to do here.
Hey, Paul.
Sure.
So what we're showing now, I understand the reason we're showing them this method of getting the video uploaded to YouTube from your computers, because obviously we're doing a webinar, audio visual, and that's the technology we have available to us right now. But you can actually take a video on your phone and upload it directly from your phone to YouTube also, right?
You can, and it's going to go through a similar process. Depending on your phone and the app that you're using to get up there, you may not have all the options that you have here,
right?
Or they may be a little bit harder to figure out. I do it this way just because, being a techie, I want as much control over what I'm doing as possible. But correct, yeah, as long as you have your established YouTube account, you could do a walkthrough or whatever you may be doing and upload it and it go directly to your channel.
Right. Well, I appreciate you mentioning that last comment too, because the reason I mentioned it is years ago, everybody, I started out taking these on my phone and uploading it directly to YouTube from my phone. And then when I learned that I had more features and functions, more control from my computer, I then started loading the videos from my phone to my computer. It's easy. You can either send it to there directly or plug in a USB and do it that way. But then I would load them up to YouTube from my computer, and it does give you more control. And the reason that's important is, like Paul was doing, he's putting in keywords, he's building his description, he's putting all this language in there that people are going to use when they're typing something in. It's going to direct them to your YouTube. Your YouTube will be one of the things that pops up based on the user search criteria. That's why you want to load your videos to your computer first and then go that route, because you're able to target your video to more precisely to the people who you want to see your video. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, Paul, sorry about that. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, and to continue on that too, Gare, that whenever you put these tags and your description in there, most people aren't going to see these tags. They will see a description whatever you put up there. And by the way, we'll get a little bit more into this whenever we review actually creating a website and having this in multiple locations, including your website, because the description here you can also use to add links over to your Facebook page, over to your website, to your blog, however you want to put that. So you want to make use as much as possible of the description area too, to multi-link over to your other avenues where you're, whatever you may be promoting. And again, the tags, the more the better. Anything that you can think of in the realm, you don't want views just to have views. You want views that are actually, hopefully going to do something for you. But with that said, the more tags, the better. Now, as well, the advantage to going over here, we're going to go over to the Video Manager, and I'm going to see. Give me a minute here while this loads. So these are multiple things that are in our account here. Now we're in the editor. I'm going to move this over a little bit. Now, once you're in here, let me go over to here, drop this down. So I'm having a little bit of trouble. I have multiple things, and I don't normally use this browser in order to do this, and it's giving me a little bit of a hard time. Because what I wanted to get to, let's see if I can get to it this way. I'm going to go back to here. It's where I want to get to is under Create here, and it doesn't want to let me do it. But back to what Gary was saying here, if you click on this Create button here, you're going to see a link down here that says Edit Video. And maybe I'll try to jump to this the next time when we go over websites too, because one of the things, as you said, Gary, if you're just using your phone and you go directly up to YouTube, and let's say you goofed up the beginning of your video and you wanted to start it 2-3 times, or you rewatch it and go, oh boy, I really screwed up that address or something in the very beginning of it, but the video is all together. Not everybody's out there. Not everybody can just go to the computer, open up their video editing software like I do, and go, okay, let's snip it from here to here and just have the usable area. But one of the things under Create is editing these videos. So if you did have a section that wasn't good, or the ending wasn't good, that you could go in and cut the beginning and cut the end. You could do multiple things in there, but you want to get into that after you've been playing around with it for a bit. But that's another one of the advantages of YouTube via your computer and your browser.
Right.
Now you can also, once it's uploaded into YouTube, don't get me wrong, it's going to be up in here, and you can always go back into afterwards and edit it. Again, that's all the stuff that's down here under the Create button down here. Does that make sense, Gary?
Yes. Yeah, thank you. Yep.
Okay. So let's jump back over to here. Now we know that we have the video uploaded. I'm just going to go ahead and pause that. Now, for you using the video as a tool, you can do it in a couple different ways. You can use your web address up here. You can use down here, you can see there's a share button. So once you click on the share button, what this is showing you here is if you want a simple URL share for the video, you can just use this link. Want to embed the video. Now again, if you had your own WordPress or blog site or website, a lot of times you're going to be wanting to use this code right here, not necessarily this code right here. But again, we'll get into that next time. Email, you can directly email from here, but mainly we're going to look at using this one right here or using this here. Now you can see this here is kind of YouTube's version of short URL, and I'm going to show you something about that in a little bit here too. But now that we have it uploaded and we're happy with the video, and now we want to start using it. So what I'm going to do here is, let's say you want to you just want to get this video out in email. We're just going to grab this link up here for right now. Now, I'm going to show you something that's, sometimes you'll get an email and you might have your whatever you're going to say in the body of your email and a link, go over and watch this. And I'm sure you've seen a lot of times where you get an email where it looks like you have the email or the video in the email and someone clicks on it. Personally, anytime I send out anything like this where I want to get a video out, I do a graphic image of my YouTube channel or the YouTube channel to make it more appealing. I mean, it makes people want to click on it whenever they see something instead of just some words in a text link. Don't you agree?
Yeah. Yep.
So we're going to take a look at a scenario now of, okay, how do I get this over in the email, and how can I make it a little bit more appealing as easily as possible using a couple tools that are already built into Windows. Now, this might seem a little bit complicated, but it's really not, and anybody that's running Windows, I'm not sure what the situation is going to be if you're running Mac, but within Windows, this little icon down here, you're going to see, I'm going to click on this, get it to come up here if I can. I don't even know if you can see this down below.
Yeah, we can see it.
But it's a snipping tool that comes with Windows. It's been in every version of Windows, and very few people even actually know it's there. But it's one of the easiest ways to do any type of screen capture or partial capture of what you're working on. So and I'll back up a little so y'all know how to get it. I'm just going to go back to the start, and I'm going to go to All Apps. I'm running Windows 8.1. I'm not upgrading to 10 as of yet.
Well, I've heard people advise against that.
Well, don't agree with me. I'm not going to bash 10 by any means. Personally, I think 7 was the best operating system that they ever came out with, and that's what I use on several of my other machines.
And that's what I use too. I've had more people tell me that, so I'm just sticking with 7.
Yeah. Now you can see over here. Here's where your snipping tool is. So I'm just going to click on that, and it comes up. I am running multiple monitors here, so I'm going to move this over here now. So from snipping tool, I just click on new, and it's just going into this mode asking me basically what do you want to snip. So you can see it kind of opaque my screen there, and it's waiting for me to draw what I want to capture. So I'm just going to go like this. I'm going to grab it. It automatically knows what I wanted to get. I'm going to go up to File, Save As. I'll put it back over here. Go to Webinar, and I'll just call this. I already have one in here. I was going to use for sample, but I figure I'd show you a little bit more in depth on this. So I'm going to go Video Image 2. I'm going to save that. So now we have the image that we want to use to send this out in an email. I'm going to copy this address here now while I have it. I'm going to minimize this one here. Now, I'm going to show you this via my mail program. Go back over to Inbox. But if you're using, Hotmail, Gmail, it's kind of all the same process. So I'm going to go to Write, and whoever you're going to send this out to, whether it's a group of people or single individual, obviously your subject. Now we're going to put watch this video. Now, a lot of people have never gone any further than just typing things into email, but to add HTML and or coding to it or images, it's not real difficult. It varies a little bit from application to application, but most of the time, for mine, I'm going to see this icon here. A lot of times it'll be a picture icon or something to that effect that you're going to know I want to insert an image. So I'm going to go Insert Image, Location. Choose File. I know I'm working out of my webinar directory. I'm going to go Video Image 2. My particular, I'm working out of Firefox version of email, so I'm just going to do, it wants a little bit of copy in this alternate text. A lot of times your web-based emails aren't going to ask you to do that. I'm going to put this in here. So now that I have my image in there, we're not linking to anything, so what we have to do is we have to add a link to our image. So I'm going to go back, even though I know I already already grabbed it. Which one do I want? I want to go over here. And
So you mean you're
here.
grabbing the actual hyperlink or the link for the YouTube video
I'm
itself?
grabbing the hyperlink. Yeah.
Okay.
I always do things ahead of myself because I always know what I'm going to do next. So I'm kind of backtracking myself. So we're going to go back to here and we're going to grab this URL here. I'm just going to, okay, I should explain this a little bit further. In order to get that URL, because I don't want to assume everybody knows how to do that. I'm going to highlight that just like that, and then I'm right-clicking, and I'm going to do a copy. So now this URL is on my clipboard. I'm going to move this back, and now I'm going to select this image here, then I'm going to go back to here, and I'm going to click on link. And again, depending on your platform, a lot of times you'll have a picture icon here, you'll have a hyperlink icon here. It's just a little bit different, but what we're doing is the same thing. So I'm going to click on link. It's going to ask me to paste the link. And now this kind of changed, so I know I've done something to it. And I'm basically done with this. Obviously, you can modify it however you want here. I'm going to send this to myself.
So now that picture is now you click on a picture and that's your embedded link, your hyperlink.
Correct.
Okay. And by the way,
and you didn't see anything here. We just happen to know, by the fact that I clicked on this. If I went back to it and went back to link, it's still going to show me that's in there. So I'm going to cancel that. So what that's going to enable is they're going to see this. They're going to be visually pulled into it, and whenever they mouse over it, it's going to know that there's a hyperlink there, so that my arrow will turn into your infamous finger pointer. So I'm going to go ahead and send this. I'm just sending it to myself, and I'll give this a minute for this to come in. I'm not going too fast, am I, Gary?
Well, I think you're okay. Let me check for questions here real quick just to make sure. Actually, we do have one. Oh, it's actually a input from Mara, and Mara has a Mac, and she's saying on the Mac to get the screenshot, you do Command Shift number 4, gives you the crosshairs to grab a screenshot. So for any of those of you out here who have a Mac, and thanks Mara for sharing that. If you have a Mac, hit Command Shift 4, you'll get the crosshairs, and you can use the crosshairs to grab a screenshot, and that's how you do it on a Mac. So thanks Mara for sharing that.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, and back to you, Paul.
Okay, so I sent this over to myself. I'm going to open this back up. It's going to come in, watch this video, and again, you can see as I go over, we have our mouse. I'm going to click on that, and it's automatically going to bring it up and throw it over here.
Okay, so everybody watching here, what Paul just showed you is how you created your video, whether it's on your phone or you loaded it to your computer, which we suggest you do, load it up to YouTube. This is how you get the YouTube video, the link for it, into an email to send out to your database. So now, let's say you went and toured a 3-unit building in your area. You've got people looking for 3-unit buildings, and you happen to find one. You could do a YouTube video of it. While you're walking through it, describe the financials, what the income is, what the expenses are, anything that's pertinent information relative to that property. You got that on your video. Now you send out to your database, and people can literally walk through the property based on your virtually, because you've got the video, not only see the physical characteristics of the property, but also get the financial data from you because you're verbalizing it as you walk through the property. And furthermore, in your email, you could provide an attachment that has the financials in it also. Or if you want to type them in directly into the body of the email, you can do that. So now they've got a video and they've got financial data on the property. That's a great way to drum up interest from your clients. Or if you want to get new clients, let's say you've got some contacts but they're not clients yet, you can use this to get them to respond. And since more than likely you're going to be one of the only people doing this in your office, it's a great way to get clients, great way to turn leads into prospects and prospects into clients. So in any case, sorry, Paul, I just wanted to walk through.
That's all right.
how it is they're using it and why they're using it. So go ahead and continue if you don't mind.
Yeah. In that same vein, we'll go over here and take a look at, okay, if we're gonna use this on your YouTube or your Facebook page. I'm gonna try and bring up. We're just gonna go back. Same thing we did before. We need to push this out to another app, and now we want to push it out to Facebook. So I'm clicking on that. I'm right-clicking on it. I'm clicking copy. I'll move this down, back out of my way. Now, some people have never posted or reposted anything. A lot of times people have done shared in order to put a video on their own timeline, some that they liked. But a lot of people haven't actually gone to YouTube and initiated or started a posting that has a YouTube video in it. So if we were to do that, we could go I'm not going to post this because I'll go a little bit further. My listing today, and then I'm going to space that. I can even go. Now I already have that URL on my clipboard, so as soon as I post that down, it's going to automatically close that. It's automatically going to start throwing in a little bit more info down here. But that's how you're going to pull it in. Now, if I would post this right now, then whoever Gary's friends are, or the friends of the page, when it goes over into their feed, they're going to see the whole video. It's just not showing that here. But that's just basically how simple it is to get it over from YouTube over into Facebook. But the difference is you're doing it and it's already come over onto your Facebook page. Okay. Now I'm going to one of the other advantages to having things up on YouTube, and you have to look at it this way, once it's in YouTube, you can use it in multiple places. So even if you're using YouTube, as I showed before, with using the post as unlisted or private, I think of YouTube as like a little holding pot for things that I want to push out, whether people want to be whether I want them to find it via YouTube or search engines or not. I consider YouTube a holding pot, and I'll show you a different example as to what you can do with it in different avenues. So now I have this YouTube link here. I'm going to recopy that, and I'll show you an example of what you can do if, let's say, you are a little bit more advanced and you're running your own podcast, or if you just wanted to use YouTube as a place to be able to get just the audio from what your video is. That's what I want to show you here, because you can use that in multiple ways as well. So once I have it up in here, if I just want to use the audio from this video, what I would do is I'd grab this, grab my link, come over, and let me see where I have that.
Hey, by the way, Paul, before you go further, I want to remind people that 2 weeks ago, Jody was on demonstrating how you use Facebook in your marketing. So what Paul was just showing you was one way to use Facebook in conjunction, of course, with tonight's subject, which is YouTube. But if you want to learn more about Facebook, go back to the webinar from 2 weeks ago when Jody was on, and she gives you pretty much everything you need to know to get started on how to use Facebook economically and also profitably. So in some of what Paul's showing you here related to the Facebook, you'll be able to enhance it, basically build like a custom audience instead of just broadly posting something, create a custom audience and then show them your YouTube video for that custom audience. So that's in other words, don't just think of these techniques as being isolated. They can and should be used in conjunction with each other, and that's what Paul's showing you. I just want to remind you, if you need to know more about Facebook, go back to the webinar from 2 weeks ago and replay it and take notes and listen to all of you for that. So Paul, I'm sorry, go ahead, go back to what you were describing there.
Okay, so now that we have our video up on YouTube, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to leave this up for a minute here too, so you can see this address. You can find this easily enough. If I'm trying to think of what I put in there, YouTube to MP3, I think I put in. And in case you don't know, MP3 is just an audio format instead of the YouTube video format, which is MP4. So MP3 audio, MP4 video. So what we can do here, again, this is youtube-mp3.org. What I can do is I can go over here, I can paste my YouTube video into here, then I click convert video. So what this is going to do is going to go out to YouTube, grab that, strip the audio out of my video for me, which is pretty cool. A lot of people use this whenever they want to just get audio tracks from singer-songwriters to put on their MP3 players or back on their phone. So they'll YouTube the artist, grab the URL for Katy Perry's new hit song, whatever it may be, come over here, paste it into here, and convert the video just into audio so that they can download that and throw it on their phone. I'm not condoning that. So now I click on download, and I'm just going to save this. It's downloading to my computer. And I don't know if you can hear that or not, Gary, even if I turn it up.
Yeah, okay. Just a little bit, yep.
Okay. So basically what we did is now we have an MP3 to work with. Now some people may prefer just to be able to have that. Again, I'm thinking about how can I use YouTube in multiple ways, and this is another one. You could go through and add all the content about a particular listing that you have that you don't necessarily need to push out the video to, but audio to, so that someone could pick it up on their phone. Just click on the MP3 and listen as well instead of just watching what you're doing. So it's another avenue to be able to have something else in your arsenal to throw out. You can throw out video, you can throw out audio, but again, we're doing that and we're using YouTube as our hub to come over here and strip out and use our audio only.
And I love that what you just showed us, because you know me, I've used that a lot over the last several years. Because a lot of what we do is, of course, get in our cars and go drive and meet people and show properties. So a lot of our consumers the same way. So you could show that you could strip off the audio, send it to them and say, listen to this on the way over to the property. It's going to give you background information on the property. There's a number of uses. That's just one example. But the bottom line is, without spending any money, you can strip off audio from audio video files and download. Put them on your phone, a number of things.
And that used to be, I mean, this made, for things that I do for you, Gare, this made my life so much easier because, you know, in order to do that before, you had to have professional video editing software, throw your video into there. In order to strip that video out of there, it took you as long as rendering the video itself. So, I mean, to do something here that this basically took us all of a minute and a half. That used to take me anywhere up to 30 minutes to an hour just to strip that out of there. And you do it in 2 minutes with a website now. It's amazing.
Right.
Now, one of the other things I'm going to go to show you real quick here is a few other options. Let me find out what window it's in. Maybe it's over here. Well, I'm going to show you this real quick here too.
Okay.
If you are for some reason uploading into YouTube, and I do this a lot with Beverly, whenever I upload one of your videos, instead of going over in YouTube and sending somebody this long address, or again, this is in the future here, but if you're adding this video into your website or blog site, this URL address here could be huge. I mean, it could be 3, 4 lines down, and to throw that into a email that you're sending out, it just, it doesn't look good. It's just a solution to that, though, is I'm going to copy this. Let's pretend this is your website address. Well, let me even grab this over. Go to My Investment Services. Well, it really doesn't matter. I'll bring that back up before I lose it. There it is. Okay, so if you are in your website and you did a post into there, again, this could get very long over here. So you just grab that, you go over here and you can find this just by going to Google and type in URL shortener or short URL. Short URL will get you here. So
Okay.
what we're is Google's URL shortener. So once I paste that in here, this one isn't very long, so it's not the best example, but you'll get it. So all I do is click on shorten URL. And once you have a Google account, by setting up your YouTube, you'll automatically have access.
Yep.
You came over here and short URL for it.
And that's,
so I can either press Control-C to copy it, or
and that doesn't cost anything, right, Paul?
No, it doesn't cost anything. You can see we use this. This is one of 33 down here of different things that we've used. We use it all the time.
Yeah.
So that's just another example of another tool that comes in handy.
And by the way, for everybody watching, the reason that's important is, let's say you wanted to tweet one of your YouTube videos.
Yeah.
You could shorten it using this, because on Twitter you've only got 140 characters to work with. So you use your short URL and post that in your tweet. It'll save you characters.
Yep, that's definitely key. And I'm going to show you something here too, Gary, and everybody else, not just Gary, but let me find. We're not going to go fully into this moment, but I don't even know if people are aware of. There it is. Okay. Now, once you get fully invested in using social media, things out, there's a handful of different services out here. This is one I'm familiar with. It's called Hootsuite. Now, the essence of Hootsuite is basically, once you have something that you want to push out to Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, any of the social media formats, the purpose of Hootsuite is it's kind of a hub for all your postings. So you can, it says here, I think there's up to 33 different platforms that you can push out to from one platform here. And we refer to a lot of things as platforms. For us, YouTube's a platform, Facebook's a platform, Hootsuite's a platform, but what Hootsuite does is it pushes your content out to more than, as they say down here, 35 global networks. So once you start working in a lot of different areas, universes, worlds, it becomes cumbersome to be able to go over to YouTube, post it, go over to LinkedIn, post it, go to Facebook, post it. It just takes too much time. That's when you get into the arena of using a platform such as Hootsuite in order to push out to everything. So you do one post, and the reason why you jog my memory there, Gare, too, because whenever you're doing with Hootsuite, and it'll automatically send out to your Facebook and your Twitter and your LinkedIn. Well, for Twitter, you have to have a short URL. They do also have a tool built into Hootsuite that'll shorten your URL for you, but Hootsuite is one of the more popular platforms, and again, they have a free, pro, enterprise. You can take a look at the compare plans to see what goes along with them. But this is only one out of several that are out there, and Hootsuite's pretty up there in the rankings. So if you wanted to just use a completely free tool, it may not have something like a URL shortener built into it. So that's when it's good to know, okay, I'm going to have to put a short URL in, or this isn't going to work, and push it out to Twitter properly.
Mm-hmm. Good. Yeah, I love to. We've been using that for years. It does save time. So once you're, so when you get to be really actively engaged with marketing and promoting, you need tools like this to help you operate more efficiently, which is going to translate to more money, more commissions in your pocket. So in the beginning, just start off with Facebook, because of all the social media venues, Facebook is the one that's proven to be more profitable. You can profit from it more easily than the others. But people, I know agents, some of our investor agents in a program started using Twitter and started generating referrals literally on a weekly basis. It was amazing how much money that guy was making. I think it was from either Cincinnati or Indianapolis. But what happens is once you uh, basically establish yourself as an investor agent, you're unique, because there's about 1 to 2% of us actually do this across the world of agents in North America. We're trying to get that number to 5%, and we're having a lot of success. But the fact is, you're using Twitter in a unique way, and it attracts people from all over the world. We were sending referrals literally from state to state and even across countries. Okay. That's how powerful of a tool it is once you know how to do this. And one of the ways you do it is by doing YouTube videos and tweet them out there to your database, and just get them out, because it'll go viral, and you'll have people calling you from all over saying, I'd like more information on that property. And even if you can't service them directly, get a referral out of it. So sorry, Paul, I'm all these possibilities. I want to iterate how and why we're doing this and how they actually apply it to their business.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree with you 100% there, and really, I mean, that's why we wanted to cover the basics. Let's just get it up into YouTube. Let's take a look at what our options are once we're in there and looking at our account. And as you said, from there, it's almost endless where you're going to be pushing it out to, and how to handle that.
Yeah. Well, I've got another example too. LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is not typically looked at as a sales venue. It is looked at as a brand building and a reputation building venue. In other words, that's how you build credibility. So one of the ways you can build credibility is, instead of us reposting articles and things like that on LinkedIn, when you're looking at properties, go through with your phone, videotape them while you're reciting the financials on the property, load that up to LinkedIn, because even though I know in your mind you want to sell the property and get a commission, don't directly sell. Just say, here's another property we discovered in the area that looks like a pretty darn good deal. It doesn't matter that LinkedIn, your LinkedIn sphere could cross multiple states and multiple countries. The fact is people invest across states and across country boundaries now. What you're trying to do is establish credibility to show them that you have access to all the inventory, and you're presenting it in a unique way that no other person is doing. So again, think Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Pinterest is another one, and by the way, once you get to 3 or 4 of those, go ahead and switch over to Hootsuite and let Hootsuite do it for you. So, okay, Paul, sorry, back to you.
No, that's fine, Gary. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into anything more than that. You let me know.
I think
mainly I want to be able to cover the basics here, and like you said, this is the foundation. It's the starting point until you get to you're pushing out to 4, 5, 6, 7 different platforms.
No, I think this is good, because I've learned in the past to not try to dump too much content into any one webinar, because what can happen now is, Paul, most of these folks will actually replay this a number of times. That's what I do with my coaching. I get recording and I replay it 5 or 6 times before my next coaching call. So everybody on here, remember, you can get an app for free on your phone. Just go on your phone and search for the GoToWebinar app. It's free, and you can watch a replay of any of these webinars on your phone, or if you're driving, plug in your headset, or if you can attach and basically plug it into your car's audio system, then you can listen to the audio. You're not going to be able to watch the video while you're driving, at least you shouldn't. but at least you can listen to the audio while you're driving. Okay, and that's why we focus on one subject, because we know the more you repeat this information on any one subject, the more you're gonna retain. Repetition is the mother of learning and the mother of success. So, in any case, Paul, I really appreciate you doing this, man. Taking up your personal time to help these folks out. I'm sure they appreciate it. In fact, if anybody would like to, go ahead and type in if you have any questions for Paul while we got him on here, or just simply say thank you, Paul, because Paul's doing this. So, this is outside of his normal work hours, so I appreciate it, and they're coming in out. People are saying thank you, Paul. um, so let me check for questions here real quick before we go, Paul. But I really do appreciate it. And let's touch base.
Hey, Garrett.
Yes.
Just real quick, just like you were saying, we post these on the website every week, and if anyone wants to build their own library of audio to have in the car with them, I mean, it's simple as going over to the website into your membership section and grabbing the URL that's up in the bar, like I did many times. Go over to that MP3 stripper and create your own MP3 library of all the videos.
That's hey, I tell you, Paul. Let's do this. When we go over the creation of their own unique website, let's show them. Let's take them up and show them how to go over to our website, grab one of the recorded webinars, and we've already showed them how to convert it to audio. But a lot of people, there's every week we're rolling in new students, and I know sometimes they feel like it's just we're just like drinking from a fire hose. There's just a lot to it, and sometimes if we give them little examples, it really helps them. I know Beverly shows them all that in the beginning, but repetition, again, that really helps. Repetition is the mother of learning. So, in any case,
agree.
Let me check for questions here real quick. I think we were all caught up. It looks like we are. Let me go back down to the bottom and verify. We got a lot more thank yous coming in. Thanks, everybody, for saying that to Paul. And I think that's it. So, Paul, I'm going to go ahead and hit the stop recording. And for everybody on here, I'm still in North Carolina this week. I will be in Richmond and Lynchburg, Virginia next Monday and Tuesday. Back to the Carolinas, and then including South Carolina the last week of April, and then down into Florida the first 2 weeks of May. And after that, next week I'll give you the schedule after that too. So thanks everybody for being here. I appreciate it. I appreciate your participation. Please let us know what you need help on. Shoot us an email or text. And whether it's Beverly, Jody, Paul, or me, we're here to help. And the more successful you are, the more successful we feel. It's the fulfillment part of the game that we get out of this. So we appreciate it. So thank you all for your comments and your kind words, and we will see you all next week. Have a wonderful night.